The E.A.F.P podcast.
As electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub, my friend.
On the JCA Sports Podcast on Spotify and Anchor app. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the E.A.F.P podcast. My shows for the World Cup are slowly coming to an end. We got this one and two more coming up later on this week, as the World Cup coverage is almost about to end, as we got one finalist already. I gotta give credit what credit's due here. You know, my lovely girlfriend, even though it looks kind of like on a little angle, but she did an amazing job here with the designs behind me. I have no, artistic bone figure in my bones whatsoever. I already said it, right? But this would never came out of me. You would have just gotten handwritings, Argentina, Croatia 3-0. It would have never looked this badass, this dope, this cute. So shout out to my girl for the beautiful, beautiful design. I just added the 3-0 in green with the semifinal, as that was the score, if you guys see it right there. Guys, make sure you follow the E.A.F.P podcast on the John Konabi Facebook page and also the Star 6 Media page too as well. Make sure you guys hit the little bell to get notified when not only just my podcast that will eventually go back weekly, but not only my show, but also the JCA Sports Podcast, Slot Shot, 3 Up, 3 Down, Big League Chicago, JCA Sports Podcast, all of that, just to get notified, and all the coverage too as well, our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and all of that. So yeah, big shout out to that. But yeah, let's get into it today. What's the reason why I am on today? And for sure, it's this one right here. 3-0 Argentina versus Croatia. Now, I originally thought that this was going to probably be a little tighter of a game than it was originally scripted. Excuse me, but it wasn't. And the first goal, the penalty from Messi, which was beautifully struck by him. By the way, it was it was good, and that was just the snowball effect becoming into a bigger snowball, I guess, rolling down the mountain. Was that goal from Messi in that PK shot? It was beautifully struck by Messi, and then a few minutes later, Julian Alvarez, who outside of Messi has been the second best player for Argentina in my eyes, at least attacking wise, right? And probably throughout the whole entire tournament too. Being there at the right place, the right time, and getting the rebounds for the second goal, to be honest. He came off, two defenders that he beat, and he got a little chip on the goalie, who was fantastic throughout the elimination round in so far for Croatia. So to get 3 passed by him was a surprise in itself. And Argentina, even if the penalty wasn't really a penalty for some people, and it was, that's all I have to say right there about that. Argentina was beyond better than Croatia by miles, and it was shown. It was shown in today's game. Argentina was just a step above everybody else. Not everybody else, was a step above Croatia. Was defending, attacking, goalie, you name it. It was just a perfect performance for Argentina to just come on and get the W and advance to the final. To be honest with you guys, and this was the Argentina I guess we were all waiting for. The Argentina that finally had the perfect matchup, the perfect game plan. The Argentina that wasn't missing a beat. The Argentina that came in with 37 straight wins in a row. I think this is why we were waiting for it, guys. It was this to pop up. And I got the link right here. If you guys are watching me on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitter or on Twitch, whatever platform you guys are watching on, the link is on here if you guys want to join me to talk about today's game, today's matchup, and what else, how have you guys felt so far about this World Cup, and has it been a success for you guys? Have you enjoyed it? I just want to know what you guys think. And yeah, this was, yeah. And also I think Croatia also played into Argentina's advantage, right? You've seen in all the games, starting from the first game in the group stage all the way to this last one, against Argentina. You've seen Croatia kind of methodically just took their time. They know they don't have the quick presence of a fascinating of young player, stuff like that. They relied a lot on their veterans and their experience. And let's slow this game down, and we'll get our opportunities here and there. And then when you get a team, last game, that Croatia was. Damn, I forgot who they played the last game to as well. Oh, Brazil. The last game, I thought that was going to be where Croatia kind of stopped, with their run right there. I didn't think they were going to make it to the semifinals, but again, I think Brazil just couldn't find a way to put the ball in the back of the net. I think that's what made Croatia kind of survive and continue in that game and actually head into the extra times. But also at the same time, they picked their spots too as well. I think the more that they hung around, the more their confidence kept on growing, and the better they got throughout the whole entire game. This game, you've seen right away that Argentina, the moment you put the ball in the back of the net, Croatia can't really create going up forward. The middle was clogged up. Argentina was just pressuring them from the get go. It was just a masterful performance from Argentina in today's matchup, to where it's kind of like whether the penalty was a penalty or not. That's just on you guys to debate. I could debate it on here too as well. I could see it both ways too. I mean, you could see kind of Alvarez kind of lean into the goalie a little bit, but the goalie didn't do himself did himself a disservice by sticking out that leg too. So you look at it both ways. Whether if it is or whether if it isn't, it's just on how you view the game. But even then, so if let's just say that penalty wasn't called or marked or anything like that, I think Argentina was still better than Croatia by miles today, and they would have just put up the same performance. Messi looked great. The third goal, like I already got the second one off a corner, quick counter, on an attack. You've seen how quick they went from their half to the other half for their second goal. Obviously, lucky rebounds off of two defenders for Croatia, and Alvarez counter on that with a little chip. The third goal, I mean, look, we seen it time and time again throughout the last 12, 13 years of Messi being in Barcelona, going down on the right wing and just taking on players, putting defenders in a blender. You just kept on seeing. I mean, this was the Messi of what we've been accustomed of seeing for the last, like I said, 12, 15 years, however long Messi has been playing with Barcelona. And actually, we've been seeing Messi throughout his whole entire career. The setup pass that he had for Alvarez, I think he was just right there. It was just them two. It was them two against four. You could tell Croatia had no type of way of stopping the guy whatsoever. And it was this is why Argentina was actually chosen to be one of the favorites to come out of out of this World Cup, and honestly just win it all. Was just this performance alone. I just it was just beautiful to see, guys. I don't know what anybody could say. I get it. I get it. If it wasn't for the penalty, it would have been like this, yada yada yada. But again, man, Argentina was just above everybody else in today's matchup. I mean, not everybody else, above Croatia in this matchup. And you just got to give credit where credit is due in this game. And Argentina just looks like they are just destined to win it all, right? And from the fans, from the get-go, the fans, I mean, it looked like it was a home game for Argentina. The way how the fans traveled, the way that, you know, the team just performed, the pressure that I don't know if Croatia felt the pressure to even compete into this game, but regardless of the fact, Argentina was miles better, and now they're in the World Cup final once again for the second time in 3 World Cups, and I honestly believe I picked them as my favorite to win before the tournament started. Um, Hell, I kind of picked the finals, right? France and Argentina. I think that was my prediction from the very first episode before the World Cup even started on what was going to be my final prediction, and it may come true tomorrow at 1 o'clock between France and Morocco. We're going to get a little bit into it later on today. So the link is on here, guys. Or if you guys could write a comment on here too as well, I could read it. We could communicate over that way too. If you guys don't want to jump on the stream, the link is on here, and let me just click it on here real quick. Yeah, just go ahead and hop on, jump on. It's on the comment section if you guys want to talk, or like I said, write down a comment. We'll communicate that way too as well. You guys are watching the E.A.F.P podcast here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Just make sure you guys follow John Konabi and also the Star Six Media Facebook page. We have all our podcasts live through on those both social media pages, and also follow us on all our other social media pages too as well: Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all of that. So, um, yeah, Argentina just it was just a great game overall. A great game to see a team that dominates it and just it. I don't know what else to say. The debate on today's, I guess, what everybody's been talking about after this and Portugal crashing out in the quarterfinals against Morocco last game was the debate on whether or not Messi kind of solidified himself as the GOAT of world football, world soccer, however you want to name the sport. That's been a strong debate now, and Messi has now been into two World Cup finals. Cristiano Ronaldo, I think the best he's been was in the semifinal, I believe, with Portugal. But what he has done, obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo winning two international tournaments, obviously the Euros in 2020 or 2016, yeah. Winning the Euros that year. Obviously, his team won it because he went out injured in that one. But regardless of the fact, it was that was the main debate, and I think that held the GOAT debate a little bit more for Cristiano Ronaldo's side up until Messi won the Copa America a couple years back. Now there's how should I say this? How should I say this nicely or not so nicely so you guys can hop on, right? Um there's been reasoning, I guess you can say, that how FIFA has been giving these tournaments for Messi for him to win a not a World Cup, even the World Cup actually, because that was actually one of the topic of the conversation for later on. But for Messi to win his international trophy with Argentina, because that was destined for him, and that was kind of what was missing in his cabinet. That Cristiano Ronaldo has one of them. Obviously, I think either he has one more, or they had the same Ballon d'Oro trophies. Obviously, he has more Champions League, which would probably be the only deciding factor in all of this. Um, but now the Messi that has been in two World Cup finals in 14 and now this year in 2022, that conversation of is Messi now solidified himself as the GOAT of the sport. And I mean, personally, to me, I think that debate is still yet to be settled. I grab admiration for both of these players, even though Cristiano Ronaldo. See, um, my personal, not dislike. I can't dislike is not. It's not really the right word, but my personal, um, non admiration that I had for Cristiano Ronaldo is that he played with Manchester United. As you can see, I'm representing my boys Arsenal today in today's episode. Is the reason why I'm not favored for Cristiano Ronaldo, right? But then once he went to Real Madrid, I guess I could. I at that time I appreciated him and his style a little bit more, his games and his gamesmanship, the way how he's been scoring goals, whatever the case may be, whatever you want. I kind of seen a different Cristiano Ronaldo in my book. That kind of was like, okay, I could kind of separate. I'm not really a big fan of both. If I were to lean into who do I choose, I'll prefer Messi's playing style over Cristiano Ronaldo's. That's just my personal opinion, just by the way he plays and all of that. Plus, I think what captivated me as a Messi fan was the 3-3 draw when Barcelona was down to 10 players and Messi scored all three goals, scored the hat trick for Barcelona to come out on a tie for that one. But that's just me, right? That's just me. Everybody else has their own, because Cristiano went to Real, Messi's at Barca, and then everybody just puts their one. I just kind of put that to the side and just said, just like, you know what? Just I admired both his playing styles. I admired both players. Both players come in clutch in certain times, so on and so forth. So, but back to the topic. I honestly I don't think this GOAT debate has been solidified until I guess until we see Messi win it all. Now that leads into my topic on today's show is the World Cup break. This is a funny debate too. Or a funny question, right? And I laughed at it reading this simply because obviously I have a few friends on Facebook who would put out like, oh, the World Cup is rigged. Seen a lot of it on Twitter that this was meant for Messi to win the World Cup, the easiest group stages and stuff like that. See now, I would not say it would have been an easy track, only if Brazil kept their lead against Croatia, the last one in the quarterfinals. I think that topic would have been completely different in that aspect, right? I do believe though, and I will say this. I don't know why I can't see this, but Michael on Facebook. Oh, there he goes. It just popped up late. Michael said Messi won the GOAT argument when he called someone Bobo during the interview. It was the guy that scored the 2 goals for Netherlands. I can't think of his name right now, but that's who he was talking about because that was actually the main antagonist throughout the whole entire game after he scored both goals, anyways. But but yeah, I mean, a lot of people been saying that too as well. I know Johnny Palayo, who's on the other podcast show too as well. He's been saying that this is the best Messi has ever been throughout his whole entire career, just calling somebody Bobo for other reasons why he's a fan of Cristiano. But yeah, it just the way that this question popped up right after, or not even right after, even during the game, right? Because of the penalty kick or whatever, however you guys want to see it, right? Whether if it was or wasn't, again, you could get the argument for both ways. Um, that was where everything just started popping up, right? The World Cup is rigged because for Messi to win the World Cup. I don't believe it. I mean, again, just imagine if this game wasn't Brazil Croatia, it was Argentina Croatia, it was Argentina Brazil. The topic would have been changed, right? Unless if it really happened the way how it happened today, then maybe, just maybe. But I'm not that big of that conspiracy theorist type of guy, even though I do love a great conspiracy theory, but not this one, not this one. I do believe though that we are probably seeing the best Messi in a World Cup tournament, right? In 2010, he was amazing in the group stage. Didn't didn't show up in the knockout stages, right? In 2014, same thing. We saw him great in the group stage. I want to say he scored the first goal in the round of 16 and disappeared after that, right? 2018, same thing. Only had one game in the group stage and wasn't seen after that. I think for the first time we've probably seen Lionel Messi have not only just a great group stage matchup. I mean, and whatever you want to talk about Saudi Arabia, that's another topic for conversation. But from Mexico on, we probably have seen the best version of Messi in a World Cup ever in his whole entire career. He scored the first goal against Australia. He scored again today against Croatia. He scored against Netherlands too as well in the PKs. Right. This is by far the best performance Messi has ever, and it's. I don't want to say it's rigged. I want to say it's more it's destiny. Right? They did not come into this World Cup winning 37 games in a row for no reason. They did not come into this World Cup as one of the hottest teams coming into this World Cup. By the way, the group did sort of kind of favor them a little bit, even though it was kind of it was tough, especially losing that first game, right? But I mean, they played it. I mean, they played against Australia. I mean, they got it, and okay, that's the round of 16. Okay, great. Whether if it was another team's, whatever the case may be. Netherlands, you've seen how tough that game was for them, right? They were up 2-0. The Netherlands came back, tied it, went to PKs. Heated argument, heated confrontation between both sides of the bench. All right, cool. Today, it wasn't that heated or that competitive, but Croatia kind of leaned into the way that have they been playing because they haven't been convincing. Let's be honest, Croatia hasn't been convincing not one game so far this tournament. The fact that they got here just by pure experience is the reason why they were in the semifinal today. And look at this. Giant Player said this World Cup is all corruption. No surprise it's rigged. I agree with you on the part that it's been corrupt. I 100% agree with you on that part, right? I do. I really, really do. going back to when this country was or Qatar was selected, because we never had two World Cup selections for host countries in 1 year. It's never happened, right? Obviously, you saw this year, last year, whenever it was, when Mexico, United States, and Canada won their. It was just only one and done, and that's it. And that's how it's been for years and years and decades, right? And we get that. And if you guys haven't seen the Netflix documentary on the FIFA corruption, then that's something that you guys have to see. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a good one. It's a good watch. But obviously, it's what we know. It's the bidding and on why Russia and Qatar won both World Cups, but mainly more Qatar than anything, and especially um, the migrant workers, the amount of deaths that is been documented and not been documented, right? Um, and everything that and everything along around that, right? As for it being rigged, it's he was a who I said who the fuck think that CR7 would be on the bench for the World Cup? Super sus for the ref from Argentina. However, I know as a Ronaldo fan, his Portuguese team wouldn't beat France, Argentina, probably not even Croatia. If I were to be completely honest with you, I think Portugal too. The only game that they've been convincing for some odd reason was the game that Cristiano Ronaldo, the first game that he was on the bench, right? And I get it, superstar. He's your star player. This, and that, and the third. I get all of that, right? And I do. But you cannot tell me that the one game that Portugal looked great, and the second game against Morocco too as well. Portugal were the better team going attack. They just couldn't put it in the back of the net. One mistake on a cross ended the World Cup, and they couldn't. And the pressure kept building and building and building to the point where they couldn't find the ball in the back of the net. No legitimate striker up top. Cristiano Ronaldo being your only striker, yes, he can do it. I'm not saying he can't or will not. The age has nothing to do. This man has been put in pressure situations and came up big in moments, right? But you cannot take a step back and look at Portugal and throughout the majority of the tournament, especially in the group stages. Out of the three games, one they looked pretty convincing, but the other two not really. But they got out of the group simply because the group wasn't really all that tough for them, anyways, in the first place. With all that being said, right, you cannot deny the fact that the best game that Portugal has had in this World Cup was the game that he wasn't starting. That's it. And I agree. Officiating has been horrible this World Cup. Not only just the Argentina game, the Brazil game was bad too. We can go on the list of majority of the bad games that have been called. Hell, even the Germany game. The only game that has probably been perfectly officiated was the one that was all women, and the Spain Germany game, and probably one more that I can think of where it just went perfectly, right? But yes, the officiating has been suspect at best, but also at the same time, there's been good officiating games that we just took the blind eye for it. I mean, the England France game was probably another good example too as well on how the officiating has been up and down throughout this whole entire tournament, and I get that. And I know you want the best of the best refs in the world, and yes, there's none have been perfect and or far from it. But out of the multiple games, there's been a few games that have been officiated just decent enough for where the game really didn't call for the matter. Now look, there's 64 matches to be played. Are you gonna criticize every single match? No, because some matches you kind of don't really need to be eagle eye on the officiating. The Netherlands Argentina game, that's a whole different story for a whole different podcast, because that one, I agree with you 100%. That something just didn't seem right. But to be honest, the refs sucked for both teams, anyways. So it's kind of like you pick your poison on that one. John goes, Joao Felix is a bum. Bruno's not great. Portugal are not top dogs. Still don't think Ronaldo deserves to be on the bench. He carried them his whole career. I get it, 100%. He has, right? But you can't say that the Portugal one that they won in 2016 in the final in the Euros against France, in France, by the way, Cristiano Ronaldo took them to the final, yes. But Portugal played France as probably as better as any other team that has defeated them within the last 8 years. And Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't win. Portugal won that for him. Okay, you're right. Cristiano Ronaldo, I think, has carried Portugal to the World Cup more times than its history, and I get that he's done a lot for it. But there's a time where I don't know about Joao Felix being a bum. I think Joao Felix, has he shown up in this World Cup? No, but also you got to remember everybody has to adjust to these players. Bruno, it is what Bruno is, right? That's fine and that's dandy. You could say however you want. But again, I think everybody gets put out of position the moment a player like Cristiano Ronaldo is in, because even though they were down 1-0 against Morocco, they still looked better going up forward. They just couldn't finish, and you could just tell that the momentum that the team kind of shift their playing style a little bit the moment he got in there, because they just felt like they just had to feed the guy. And obviously, you feed him in this Cristiano Ronaldo, and he will put the ball in the back of the net at any given moment, at any given time. But I don't care about the age. Yes, you could tell he doesn't look as fast as before because of the age, but the guy can still turn up whenever he can. And it just, unfortunately, he just hasn't been, not even just this World Cup. We could even go to the last one. The last one, he only showed up for the first game against Spain, scoring the hat trick, and that was it. Right? And even throughout the years after that, in between, it just you just kind of seen that it just hasn't been the same Portugal Cristiano Ronaldo as been before, because of whatever the case may be. Um, you got Messi and Argentina versus the defending world champs win. Sounds like a super storybook ending, aka rigged. I picked this final way before, even before all of this, simply because I didn't. Coming into this tournament, it was literally the two best teams. Like I said, Argentina came into this tournament winning 37 games in a row for a reason, right? France, the defending world champs, the only thing that was always questioned or clouded over France was the World Cup champion curse, right? The winner of the World Cup the year prior gets eliminated in the knockout stages. Happened to Germany, happened to Spain, happened to Italy. I think Italy didn't even qualify. Happened to Brazil, but Brazil did qualify for the round, the 16, but eliminated there. And France in '98 and 2002. That was probably the only one that was kind of, I guess, their cloud over their head, right? But remember, it was basically the same team that won the World Cup in 2018 that was in this World Cup this year without Benzema. Remember, Benzema wasn't even on the squad when they won in 2018. So essentially, I know it's a hot topic, and Benzema just won the Ballon d'Or and is the best striker in the entire world. But when I really did mean that France looks better without Benzema, it has proven that France is better without Benzema, because they're playing another semifinal in another major tournament. And when Benzema was in this France team in the Euros 2 years ago, they crashed out in the quarterfinals. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise that he got hurt around this time. I do not know. I don't know. But what I do know is that this team, how it's suited right now, without Benzema, it works. And it was proven 4 years ago, and it's proven again this year in this one. John goes and says he was on the bench coaching them. He had heavy influence right by the sideline. Oh, I get it. And I'm assuming you're talking about the Euros in 2016 in France. Yes, and you're absolutely right. You saw him with the knee brace doing all this and doing all that, and I get that, and he's a big influence to that whole entire squad. I'm not saying he isn't, but excuse me, but it was just shown that Portugal did play. Just, I mean, they played for him then, but they still had to play on the field, and their dominant performance defensively, shutting down Mbappe and everybody else for them not to be comfortable on the ball was the reason why. He goes, but the game plan can't be only fed to him. But they do. I don't know. I want to give you a very a smart, not remark, but a comment, just a very football intellectual comment. But I mean, for some odd reason, it just caters that way, right? They lose their style of playing wide, coming and crashing, trying to create through the middle, going out wide. Like, you saw the difference when he was out, and to where when Cristiano came, it just kind of, yes, they still kept doing it because obviously that's still how you play. You still go out wide as much as you can and cross the ball in. But you also kind of seen them kind of like close down in the moment to where like the ball has to be more fed in the middle just for them to hit the through ball for Cristiano Ronaldo to take that one breakaway. I mean, just like he did in the 90th minute to almost tie the game from that through ball. I forgot who it was that gave him that beautiful ball, anyways, that he one timed it. But I feel like they slowly start coming in the moment he comes in even though because everybody knows that once Cristiano Ronaldo's on the field, dude's like 6'2", 6'3", and he could jump like a damn gazelle. And if the ball crosses in, obviously they're going to crash the box more into the middle. And it just to me it just seems like they cater that way to him. Ulysses, what's up? Ulysses says PSG plus Qatar percentage to FIFA equals Messi. Again, and this is where the story again it really pops on to this one, how FIFA has been World Cup. Because you're right, because the owners of PSG are from Qatar. They're one of the richest people that own they're in the country, or in the world actually. They own PSG. For them to get the bid back in 20 whatever it was, 2010, 2012, I think it was 2010. I forgot when the bid was. Yes, the connections are there. The connections are really there on how it can look rigged, right? Let me take out the banner. I've been having the banner for a while. Um, so yes, it's you can see it. You can see why, I find it hilarious. But it also, I don't want it to take away from what the team has produced, and the team has produced moments of where like they become dominant because of their players on the field, right? Outside of Saudi Arabia, where they lost the first game, outside of them, that was the only game where you kind of seen the little chink in their shield of them, being this juggernaut of the team. And I think that's what Argentina really needed in this tournament to possibly lose this game, because this was Spain back in 2010 winning the Euros, 2 years ago. Argentina winning the Copa America. Um, Losing the first game, Spain, Argentina losing the first game. And I think that's what they needed, and that's what Spain needed too as well, become this dominant team to reach all the way to the final, and same thing too as well. But I get it, right? And it's funny, and it's hard not to see the quote unquote the rig of the World Cup, the quote unquote corruption, which is true. It is still corrupt, and maybe till to this day, I'm not 100% sure. But you're right on that part. It's still more on that aspect of what is still produced on the field. And what I saw today, it was still a more produced game for Argentina on the way how they attacked and came out of this game than anything else. And John lastly says, and that is Portugal's only plan, which is why teams adjust just to lock on him. And exactly. And that's why they are not playing in the semifinal against France. Even like you just said earlier too, they probably won't have a chance against France. Hell, I don't think anybody had a chance against France. Hell, if even Mexico came out of the group, they probably would have still never had a chance against France, and he was in the round of 16, and we were still never seen, the quinto partido. Maybe not. That future, the guy from the future on TikTok supposedly that would predicted the World Cup final, France and Brazil. I mean, look at it now, right? I don't know if you guys saw that. I saw that on Facebook or Instagram. I forgot where I saw that. They were, I'm from the future and I can predict the final and so on and so forth. Whatever. I'm going off topic. I'm going off track here. Um, but yeah, it's easily adjusted to that. But you're right. Maybe not against Croatia. Maybe not against France. Probably not even against Argentina. Even though I think, like I said before the World Cup started, what will cause World War III? Messi versus Cristiano in the World Cup final, which is set up that way too as well. So yeah, it's funny. I found it funny. I find stuff like that funny. I love a good conspiracy theory in anything, in life, in sports, in whatever the case may be. Aliens, whatever. I don't care. But I we know that the World Cup in Qatar for this year and Russia 4 years ago was corrupt and was money bagged and everything like that. I know that 110%, and I think everybody knows that except for FIFA. But today's performance, I don't think you could say corruption here and there, or there was a heist or anything like that, simply because Argentina were miles better than Croatia no matter what. And I do believe today's aspect, it was just the beauty and what we have seen Messi for the last 10 plus years. The way how he could take the team on the back, scoring the penalty, the third goal assisting, and just providing magical moments here and there. I do believe I don't want to take the outside noise, even though it's loud. Don't want to take the outside noise to what was in the game today on the pitch. And it was just a pure, beautiful, dominant performance from Argentina against Croatia today. And which is why Argentina is in the final, playing on Sunday against the winner of this game between France and Morocco, who I think everybody's darling, um, everybody's favorite team. I mean, if your team or your country or the player that you represent is no longer in the World Cup, I think it's easy to jump on this bandwagon, on this Morocco bandwagon, because, like I said in the last podcast, the first Middle Eastern / African team, more African because they play in the AFCON to qualify to the World Cup. But um, everybody's Cinderella team, and we all love a story like this. I think in a World Cup, in a tournament like this, a Cinderella story is easy to get behind. Japan was that team. Morocco is now this team. But again, they're coming up against a juggernaut in France, the defending world champions. Would I love chaos? Hell yeah, I would love chaos. I would love to see a Argentina Morocco final too, as much as I would love to see a Argentina France. I would love to see, the first African team to play in the World Cup final. Obviously, it's the first one in a quarterfinal and the first one in a semifinal. I would love chaos. I would love for them to become the Cinderella story and play that. Now again, if that does happen, I wonder how much would it be, or how much would everybody would say, "Whoa, it was rigged by FIFA." Blah, blah, they beat France, and if the officiating is crap like it was in the last game, the story will continue on how rigged this was and how rigged it was for Messi to win the World Cup, and so on and so forth. Right? That's the one thing where I don't hope it happens. Right? But even then, so as you just look on paper, player for player, team for team, on the score sheet, obviously France is much more superior than Morocco. Um, that it's hard for me even to envision anything like that to happen. Yes, Canada is the only team that's scoring on Morocco outside of penalties. Morocco has kept a clean sheet throughout most of the whole entire tournament. Can France be that team to do so, to score in regulation time? Hell yeah, I believe so. I mean, look, with Kylian Mbappe, the France Kylian Mbappe is the what's a good comp for Kylian Mbappe in France, right? Like, what player for somehow, some way, can perform for another team to get them over the hump, right? Um, I can't think of anything. I mean, in soccer it's easy. I mean, Brazil Neymar is one, but Kylian Mbappe in France is just a whole different breed, a whole different animal. He's tied with Messi with the Golden Boot, for the most scores in the World Cup. It's hard for me to imagine France getting shut out. It's hard for me to imagine France. I mean, I can see them struggling, right? Morocco is a very good team defensively. They defend very well. They defend as a unit, and then they go on an attack pretty well, right? But with Varane in the back and Akabukano, or no, I'm like Kanunde in the back line, you can tell, you can see that this France team is stacked from goalie to forward defender to the midfield, and even on top too as well. It's hard for me to say. I mean, Giroud, for somehow, some way, Giroud scores more for France than he does for club, but he's there. Antoine Griezmann still performing, still putting balls in, and that beautiful ball that he put in Giroud for the second goal against England. Mbappe just being Mbappe with France. Like, it's going to be hard, and how far back is Morocco going to be? How willing is Morocco going to put the pressure on France? And that's the question for tomorrow's matchup. Can Morocco apply somewhat pressure or make this game difficult for France? Because if they can't, if France finds a way to break them down, I don't even see a way where Morocco kind of comes in and attack and scores on France. They could do it on the counter. Maybe they don't change their game plan. Maybe they might get lucky on a break. I don't know, but Morocco's the most goals that they scored. I think it's 3, and that was against Canada too as well. But Canada was everybody's point giver in that group with Belgium, Croatia, and Morocco too as well. So how much of a grain of salt can you take that with? Obviously, 1-0s, 0-0s in the elimination tournament in the quarters and around the 16, but against France, you need to be able to attack them and apply pressure from them. And I don't know if Morocco can, and we still haven't seen that team to do so. So again, I do believe Morocco can get a goal, but I feel like France is just a class or two above this team. And I love the tournament, and I love Morocco's story. Them being in the semifinal is a story in itself. But I do believe I see a 3-1 regular time win, France against Morocco in tomorrow's game. Kylian will probably get his goal. As my surprise pick to score a goal too will probably be Antoine Griezmann. We'll probably see his little Fortnite dance. But yes, on Sunday we will definitely see my prediction for the World Cup before I even started this podcast on a daily note. France, Argentina in the final. We will see that on Sunday. I'll be watching that over football, just to let everybody know. I'll probably watch the Bears game too as well, but it'll be on the second TV on mute because the final is more important. And just remember, guys, on Sunday, right? Like I said, tomorrow we're gonna have the show. We're gonna talk about the game between Morocco and France. Will there be a surprise? Will there not be a surprise? Are we gonna see what we're gonna see in France versus Argentina? Will we see something different? I don't know, but I am down to the last 2 shows before I go down every week on this podcast. I don't know what to do with myself now, guys. This is I don't know how my life was before the World Cup, and I got to get used to it little by little. But yes, I am down to tomorrow's show, Saturday's show. No, I'm gonna do the Sunday show. No, Saturday show. I'll do Saturday for a quick big for the third place game and give a breakdown for Sunday's game between France and Argentina. And just to let everybody that's been watching, just to let you know that I will be live right after the final. Hell, I might even do a live show. I don't know. Depends how I feel on that day. Just stay on the lookout. Just make sure you guys follow me on Facebook, Eric Saul Avila, and also follow us on all our social media platforms, the John Conavi Facebook page, the Star 6 Media Facebook page, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok. Guys, make sure you hit the little bell to get notified when not only just my podcast is live, but all the other podcasts and our wonderful medium, our media group. And we go all around the world with sports and different types of sports, from golf to hockey to MMA and combat sports and all of that. So I want to thank everybody for watching, joining John, Ulysses, Michael Perez on the podcast. Everybody that's been watching, thank you very much for joining me. I will be on tomorrow, same time, same place at 7 o'clock to talk about the semifinal game between France and Morocco. And then we will see you on Saturday and Sunday after that. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. See you guys then.
Scrooge smile with the quality of his goal.
See you later.
Oh. Yes. Yes.
He's intolerable.